Following on from my last video, I'll be focusing on the use of a multi-sport participation within talent identification and its benefits on young participants. As reviewed in my last video, early specialization runs the high risk of overuse injury and increased likelihood of injury further down the participant's sporting career. This being the case, where do we stand as not only talent identifiers, but more importantly developers in catering for all our participants, providing the most effective environment for our young players in which they can effectively progress while still enjoying physical activity and a multitude of sports. By looking at talent development models, we can provide some insight into how talent development research has developed over time and how a multi-sport approach factors into this. One of the first instances of talent identification models is Ericsson's 1996 10,000 Hours to Master a Craft. This well-known and well-dated model relies on the theory that deliberate practice in a specific sport or activity for 10,000 hours or 10 years will result in mastery of the activity. This model is being thoroughly critiqued for its promotion of specialization, specifically by North 2012, who provided a scathing critique of Ericsson's model. Modern models of talent development have brought multi-sport as a development tool to the forefront and a primary way of letting youth experience various sports before specializing. Cote et al. 2003 describes this as a sampling phase in his development model. As we can see, the model states the sampling should provide involvement in several sports and high amounts of deliberate play, not practice. And so, using Cote's framework, we can start to develop an understanding as to the benefits of multi-sport, which we'll go into more detail about now through academic literature. One of the first important positives to a multi-sport approach is foundational movement skills. Hultin 2018 describes some of these skills, such as resistance training, swimming strokes, and riding a bike. Also, the development of physical literacy, which is defined by the International Physical Literacy Association of Rotiert et al. 2018 as the motivation, confidence, physical competence, knowledge, and understanding to value and take responsibility for engagement in physical activities for life. These life skills are important as not only every participant goes on to professional sport, and if they do, it's important to promote and develop life skills early on for life after sport. Cote 1999 and Hill 1993 indicated that early sport specialization as a child does not seem to be an essential ingredient for exceptional sport performance as an adult. Hill 1993 indicated that performing a range of activities during youth was the norm for professional baseball players, while Ward et al. 2002 found that elite soccer players did not specialize until after age 16. Baker et al. 2003 indicated that participation in other relevant activities during early phases of development augmented the physical and cognitive skills necessary in their primary sport. So what of long-term development of multi-sport athletes? Lynch et al. 2020 provided a research article on high school multi-sport participation of NFL players. Fewer than 12% of the athletes in the study actually specialized in American football in high school. Continuing the skills and dexterity gained playing additional sports may actually help players continue to advance to the highest level. A theory popularized by Güllich 2014. The research concluded that the findings support the value of youth multi-sport participation and suggest that there may not be long-term performance benefits to early sport specialization. Barynina et al. 1992 study of elite swimmers indicated that athletes who specialized early spent less time on the national team, and ended their sports careers earlier than athletes who specialised later on in their lives. With the knowledge that opportunity creates successful talent through access to a multitude of sport, what then can we do outside of the participant sport to create this access? This leads me on to my next video, which will dive into the social barriers participants face and how socio-economic class, family, friends, community, and the area in which the player live affects the sports in which they are able to experience and try, ultimately affecting the opportunities they have to develop into future professional athletes.